Hello friends, and welcome to the Hanged Man in the Moon. I don't do a lot of unboxings on this channel, but this just came in the mail and it's from one of my favorite creators and I want to give her some love. This is the Lily Stone, I forget the name of it. It's based on the Sforza deck from Italy, a very old tarot, pre-Tarot de Marseille. I also have the Stone Marseille by Lily Stone. So that's why I love her work. Her colors, her line work are absolutely amazing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the camera down, and as I unbox this, I'm going to lay it side by side with my Il Meneghello version of the Visconti Sforza. So if you want to see this deck and a side-by-side of both of those decks, stay tuned. We'll be right back. So, this is the deck I received from Lily Stone, and this is my Il Meneghello Visconti Sforza in a box. A very beautiful box, isn't it? I think these are still on sale at Il Meneghello. If you want to look for it, I'll try to put a link in the description below. But first, let me open this package up for us. Let's see, it's not going to be an easy open. So let me use my knife to get in here. Avert your eyes if this bothers you, but it is perfectly safe. Okay, so here is, wow, look at that size. Okay, I thought I was going to need a lot of screen room. Just so you know, this was the box for my, or this is the box for my Lily Stone Tarot de Marseille deck. And inside this box is a beautiful deck called the Stone Marseille Tarot. Lovely deck. It's still available. I highly recommend it. This is my box for the recreation, the redrawing of the Visconti Sforza. It is number 38 of 50. I'm not sure if she'll have these available on her site, but just in case, I want to show you the loveliness that is her work. So we opened this pink bubble wrap, which was not very well sealed, but that's neither here nor there. Here we go. Look at that gorgeous box. That box is beautiful. The artwork, the colors. Does it look purple to you? This is a very purple deck. A box, I should say. It's a clamshell box, as expected. The inside of the box is beautifully done, as expected. Here we have the Stone Visconti Tarot, 2021, and there's her site. Yeah, the lilystonequarry.com, if you're interested in going to the site on your own. So I'll put this beautiful box aside and take the plastic ring off the deck and lay it down. Here we have the Stone Visconti signed limited first edition. This says, oh gosh. Okay, I'm going to, I'll put it in the, I'll put a title in the bottom here of what this says. I'm having difficulty reading it. I know what it says, but it's not coming to me. 38 of 50, Lily Stone, August 2021. So this is a beautiful deck. I like the brown borders. I didn't think I would like this brown border around the deck. You can see it is edged with a holographic black edging. Here is what the back of the deck looks like. You can see it's very large. It's a very large deck, but so is the original, at least the one as produced by Il Meneghello. Here is a standard Rider-Waite US Games card size right here. And you can see it is considerably larger. Yeah, it's not a thick deck, however, so it's going to shuffle very easily, I believe. It's a very thin, not uncomfortably thin, but very thin and very flexible, but very durable cardstock. Okay, it feels like she has a core in there. Let me open up my Visconti Sforza from Il Meneghello. So here's the title card for that one. Yeah, 54 of 1,500. This is the back of this deck. Very different. This is more of what the actual traditional card backs look like. And we will go to the front again. I haven't checked the order of either of these decks. So let me take away the title cards. Let's see, I'll put this here. Okay, okay, here we go. This is the Fool from the Visconti Sforza as reproduced by Il Meneghello. I'm just knocking these cards all over the place. I'm very sorry. I'll get this together. You can read this on your own if you like. Let's see, good. So this is the card. This is the Fool card. So you can see her recreation is much easier to see. Yeah, we've still got hints of the gold, but on a much darker background. However, we get the basic lines. Yeah, we got the staff for the Fool. You see that there are no numbers. There were no numbers on the original deck. Let's see if she added to this deck to make it 78. This is not a 78 card deck. This card deck has a few cards missing because the cards that we have in the libraries also have cards missing. Here we go with the Magician. Now it's interesting. This almost looked like a cake to me in this rendition, but we have basically the same colors. She changed the shirt for the Magician from green to purple, but lovely coloration. We got all of the tools there. We got the wand, we got the coins, we got the knife, the cup, and apparently the hat, sitting on the same style of box. This redrawing is much easier to see. Here we have La Papesse. You see there are also no titles to this deck. But if you know Tarot de Marseille, you know basically this is La Papesse, right? In Rider-Waite-Smith, the High Priestess. She's got her book. Yeah, we've got the same pattern in the background. We've got the same feeling of perhaps pregnancy, which is interesting, right? Because we usually think of the Empress for pregnancy. Here is the Empress, and the faces of the women in the majors for this deck, I believe, are based on Maria Visconti Sforza. This deck, I believe, was created as a gift, a wedding gift for Maria and her husband on the occasion of their marriage. And these are all hand-painted. This was all painted in gold. And there were some areas that were painted in silver, but when you see those, they have now become black. They've become tarnished over time. But Lilystone has corrected a lot of that. So we lose the gold, but instead we have this lush purple. And this is the face of Maria Visconti Sforza, who was a powerful woman. I believe she also led campaigns in battle. I mean, she got dressed up in armor and went out and fought. So this is the emperor, a much older figure, perhaps her father. Here is the Pope. Now, basically the same. Again, she's moved from the golds to purples, right? But what a beautiful coloration. We've got the cross. See, the cross is so much easier to see here than it was in the original, especially over time. Here we have the Lover. We've got the arrow pointing down at him. We've got the girl, the woman, hand clasps. It's different from Marseille, right? In Marseille, there's usually a man standing in the center, two women, one perhaps older looking, one perhaps younger looking, and he has to make the choice. However, this is more of an Italian style deck and predates the Marseille system, or the Marseille design perhaps is the best way to say that. And so there are many differences. I mean, the idea is very similar, but there are many differences. So this looks more like contract to me rather than choice, right? A marriage contract. Because marriages were business contracts at the time. Here we have the Chariot, and instead of a prince, we have Maria Sforza, Visconti Sforza, riding her chariot. But we still have the horses looking like they're not exactly wanting to go in the same direction, right? That idea is still present in this deck. It's interesting the way she decided to change, to modifications she made to her crown. Yeah, these red dots in the center of the crown are an interesting choice. Beautiful and interesting. I love how she fixed the colors for the ground here. We still have the idea of a patterned, variegated green ground. And here we have Justice. Yeah? Justice. We've got the balance, but we also have a knight riding with a sword behind her. And this is probably her husband. Now, this is probably Maria's husband, and I've forgotten his name offhand, but this is probably Maria's husband, Mr. Sforza. Of course, it wouldn't be Mr., he'd be Count Sforza or Viscount Sforza or something like that. And here we have what is now the Hermit, but at the time was Hermit or Time. Yeah, instead of a lamp, we have the hourglass here. He's holding his rod. I love how she cleaned up the boots and the stockings here. Although I do like the red boots on the white stockings personally, but this matches her overall color palette, I believe, much better. So I believe, oh, look at this Wheel of Fortune. Yeah, we have a date here, I'm sorry. So I'm not good at reading this calligraphy, especially as it's in Latin. So that will have to be left to a later date. I'm very sorry. But yeah, we've got 4 people instead of 4 creatures around the wheel. One on top, one going down, one struggling to keep moving, and one on their way up. And here we have Maria. Now, I'm curious why she changed Maria's hair color to red in this one, instead of keeping it the blondish color, which is in the original and other parts of the deck. Interesting choice. I'm not sure about that. Okay, so here we have Strength. And this is the older version of Strength, which was actually beating down a lion. Or sometimes Strength is lifting up a heavy object like a column, or holding up a heavy object like a column. But here we have Strength, this guy beating up this poor little lion. Oh, it does make me sad when I see this card, because I feel very sorry for that lion. And my favorite cards, one of my favorite cards, the Hanged Man. Can you guess why this is one of my favorite cards? But look how she cleaned him up. Beautiful. It's interesting, this at the very bottom. I wonder why she put that there. The crenellated end of land, which I don't really see in at least Il Meneghello's version of that card. Do you notice the water? We don't often see water at the head of the Hanged Man, le pendu. Although I believe the Hanged Man is a water card. I may be wrong. I mean, okay, alchemical associations for this deck are not apocryphal, are anachronistic, because all of that came much later than this original Visconti Sforza deck. Now, the alchemical associations, the Kabbalah associations came much later. So saying that this is a card of a water element is, I believe, anachronistic. However, we do see water here. And here we have death. Look at that. The bare stomach, a very hungry looking death, right? And instead of a scythe, we have a bow and arrow. And again, we have crenellated land here. Here we can see it in the original. I don't see it in the Hanged Man, in the Pendu, but I do see it here. And so I understand that very easily. And here we have temperance. Yes, temperance. And here we can see the liquid flowing between the jugs much more easily. This actually looks like the liquid is just pouring down in this one, right? And in fact, it's difficult to know. Are these splashes of water of the liquid pouring down? Are we to assume that the liquid is supposed to be pouring from here to here in this deck? Is this an additional symbol that was added by Lily Stone? Questions, many, many questions. Clearly she made the choice that these were plants rather than water splashing. And look at this devil. Look at this devil. I'm sorry, I made a technical error. Now, in Tarot de Marseille, this is not called the death card, this is called card 13. And though there is no number, so I went right to death. So please forgive me if that is unsettling for you. But here we are at the devil. Again, crenellated land at the end. And I love this devil. A very human-looking devil, right? Even though the feet are different and there are claws at the hands, still, the shape of the body and the face is much more human-like. We got hairy chest, we got hairy arms, we got hairy legs, a little bit different. Yeah, he's very modestly wearing some fur around his midsection. This tail is much easier to see here than it is here. Lovely, lovely, lovely. And Maison Dieu, or the tower. Now she's made a big change here. Yeah, this is a square tower, this is a round one. So this is a big difference to me. Here we have a sun-like image. And here we have clouds, and it looks like the lightning is coming out of clouds. So it's an interesting change. Look, there's also an additional person here. We've lost that shield. So I'm curious what she was looking at for this card. And here we have the star. Look at her. Lovely. Change the color of her dress. Now, what would you say? Are these bare feet and these are socked feet? Or were these socked in like a tan color? The color of the skin is different. So probably these are booties, and perhaps that is what the creator was thinking of. Lovely. And notice how you can see the inner garments here much more clearly than in the Il Meneghello deck. And here we have the moon. The moon. Beautiful card. A beautiful, beautiful card. I love the moon. It's one of my favorite cards. And the colors, her outfit, color changed to match the overall palette, but in keeping with the original. And here we have the sun. Look at this child, this young Apollo-looking creature. Yeah. Now, this looks like land to me, but Lily Stone has changed it to a definite cloud-looking image. This looks like floating land to me. But we have the sun. The sun has a face in it. Very easy to see. Yeah, the mountains have become actual blue instead of green, but that's fine. Lovely. The little cherub's genitalia. So this is a very young Apollo, right? And here we have Judgment. Yeah, almost exactly the same, but so much easier to see in this deck. Yeah, we can see the banners much more clearly. We can see the angel's wings much more clearly. And the image of God with the orb much more clearly. The facial expressions are very similar, aren't they? Almost exactly the same to my eye. Okay, and here we have the world, a very unusual world, right? So here we have two young cherub-like creatures holding up a world with a castle, which indicates the importance of castles at that time period. Yeah, the world for these people was centered around their castle, their protective fortress, especially in Italy, which was a conglomeration of individual city-states. So the city-state, the capital, was a castle with fortresses, and that was the center of life, the center of society. Especially for a family like the Visconti Sforzas. And so here we go with the Ace of Pentacles, or Denari. But first, let me count the cards, yeah, of the major arcana. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. Okay, so we've got all of the major arcana. I was mistaken about this Visconti Sforza deck from Il Meneghello. We did have the full 78 cards here. I must have been thinking of another one of their reproductions of the older Italian decks. So here we have the Ace of Coins. I'll go a little bit more quickly in here, but you can see how much easier it is to see these images than looking at this. Although I do love this deck, and I'm very happy that I have this deck. I'm pleased, but I'd be much more called to use this one because of the ease on my eye. A bon droit. That's what that says. A bon droit. And I forgot the translation. I will have put that at the beginning of this video. Two of discs of coins. Yeah. The 3 of coins. You see that the arrangement of the coins is very different from a Marseille deck, right? And again, this predates Marseille decorations, Marseille style. Here we have the 4. The 4 is very similar, but we don't have the shield. But you can see the patterns inside the coins so much more beautifully. And the floral decorations are so much easier to see. And I love purple. I think this is my first purple deck. I've got navy blue, but this, I believe, is my first really what I would call a purple deck. 5 of coins, 5 of discs, 6 of discs. Yes, the discs in this deck are all basically the same design. There is variation in the floral decoration, of course, especially because of space changes. Yeah, look at, we got red flowers here. We don't have red flowers here. But we do have these orange flowers here. So she matches the original very nicely. Yeah, the 7. Beautiful. I like having the 3 above and 4 below, personally. The 8. Beautiful flowers. The 9. Interesting. Traditional in Marseille decks, this extra coin would be here in the center of the 8, bursting out with other decoration. I prefer this purple background to the white, personally. And remember, all of this gold here originally was actual gold on these cards. The 10, 2, 4, 8, 10. Yes, the 10 of coins. And here we have the page. Look at those legs, the cloak. And all of this was gold. But see how much easier it is to see the hat, the coin here. And here we have the knight, chevalier, a very young knight of coins. We lose the shield, which is a little bit sad. I miss the shield. The shield for the crest for the family. Here we have la reine, the queen. Look at her sitting. And I believe, again, this is Maria. And here we have the king. And I believe this is her husband. Now, notice this. We have different color socks, leggings here. Yeah, we don't know clearly what the boots would be for this, but it looks like the boots were both the same color in this deck. Instead, we have the same colored leggings, and we have one different colored boot. No boot on this one, which is an interesting choice. Love how she reddened this inner garment on the king. And here we have the Ace of Cups. Look at that. We can see the water so much more clearly. Lovely decoration. Now, we don't get that city of, the city of Jerusalem, the heavenly Jerusalem image in the older Italian decks. Which is fine. You don't need that. That doesn't need to be the one and only image for an Ace of Cups, correct? Amor mio, my love. Now that I can translate right off the bat. My love. Two of Cups. Two of Cups, my love. Fits perfectly for that card, right? Now, Three of Cups. Look at this difference. How this is different from a traditional Marseille. Now, of course, this is also different. In a Marseille, there would be a banner below. These two cups would be side by side. But look at this one. We've got this one on its side, perhaps pouring out. Perhaps that's how this is more unsettled, maybe. Interesting. How would you interpret that? Here we have, again, a Bontoit. And here now that was the 4. Here is the 5. Same layout for the 5. Beautifully, beautifully decorated. And again, I prefer the purple to the white background. I like this, again. I do love this deck, but I prefer the purple background. And I don't mind that the cups are no longer gold. Particularly because they're so much easier to see. Okay, here we have the 6, which is very similar to a traditional, to a Marseille arrangement. The 8 is different from a Marseille arrangement. Here we have the 8 of Cups. Look at these flowers on the side. I just noticed the base of these cups having this marking here. I wonder if that has something to do with the family. I do not know. I don't know if that was a thing with the Viscontis or the Sforzas. The 10 of Cups. I'm sorry, no. 6. Oh, this is the 8. I'm sorry, this was the 7 of Cups. I'm very, very sorry. This is the 8. I'm so used to the Marseille arrangement that I get thrown a little bit. But, of course, if I were really sitting here reading, I'd sit and count, right? And here is the 9 of Cups, very much like a Marseille. Beautifully, beautifully arranged, beautifully decorated. And the 10 of Cups. Here we have, just like a Marseille, the 10th cup on the top tilted over. So it's interesting which cards are like Marseille and which are different. And here we have the Page of Cups, beautifully done. We have 2 different colored leggings here, and she chose to keep them the same on this one. Hair color is much darker, but it's much easier to see this cup. Again, especially with the Chevalier, the Knight of Cups. Yeah, this cup, it's almost impossible to see. Well, not all impossible, but still, it's difficult to see this cup, whereas here, it will be easy to see. I like the red that she added instead of the green. Look at those spurs. A little bit funny. How practical is that spur? Not exactly sure. Looks like it would fall off after a couple hundred yards. Here we have the Queen of Cups. Again, cup much easier to see. I like the purple glove instead of the green. Lovely. We can see her foot sticking out from below. Yeah. All of the women's faces are basically Maria, to my understanding. And I believe all these young men's faces are her hubby-to-be, the King of Cups. And here, the cup is so difficult to see, isn't it? And the crown. Here we have the wands. Yeah, most of these banners say, okay, again, forgive me, I'm not reading this very easily. I'm not reading this very, Abondroit. Two of wands. Lovely. Now she sent, okay, now just a moment. These are not wands, these are swords. No? Oh, I see. Okay, so let me back up just a little bit. The order is different. She's got swords here. Let me pull out my swords. Just a moment. I don't need to stop for this. I can go right to here. Okay, so. Sorry, here we go with the swords. Abondroit. And the Ace of Swords pointing down. Here we have the Two of Swords crossed. Here we have the Three of Swords. You notice that in her deck, she went with white instead of green for the swords, right? And you also notice, this is interesting, she went with these two on the top and this one pointing up, the central one pointing up, whereas the original, the two pointing on the sides are pointing up and the one in the center is pointing down. How do we know that this is upright? Because the words on the banner, yeah, Abondroit, Abondroit. So these are both upright. The swords are pointing in different directions. I'm curious if this is going to be continuous. Now, the evens are pointing in the same direction. Here we go with the odds. And nope, these are the same. So it's just that three that she did differently. And I'm wondering if there's a reason for that. I wonder if there's a reason for that. Here we have the Six of Swords. Here we have the Seven of Swords. And notice the gold here. So she went with white instead of having a separate color. Well, gray. Okay. And here we have the Eight of Swords. All pointing in the same direction. It makes me wonder why she went with the different directions in the three. Here we have the Nine of Swords pointing up in the center. Yes. And just a moment. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, maybe in changing this, I forgot to move my Ten of Swords. Somehow I have, there's my Ten of Swords. Here we go. Okay, so let me get the Ten of Swords out. My Ten of Swords out. Here we go. Ten of Swords. Exactly the same, though the coloration is different. But still we have the different colored flowers, right? Reds, and then one at the bottom. Instead of green, we have a purple. And here we have now, just a moment. I think he's out of order. Yes, he is out of order. Let's see, where are the rest of my court cards for swords. Let's see. Okay, so I'm going to leave this as it is, and here we go. Here he is, or here they are. They were stuck in the box. Yeah, here we go. This box is beautiful, but it's easy for the cards to get stuck here between the side and the bottom because this is a handmade box. It's a very beautifully made, handmade box. And sometimes cards get stuck in there. So here we are with the Page of Swords, the Chevalier, the Knight of Swords. I'm glad she kept the shield, although the shield has been modified. I'm sorry, the crest, I should say, the crest. Here we have the Queen of Swords, looking very regal, and much more of a brown-haired brunette queen than the, I believe, original coloration. And here we have the king with his shield. Yeah, it's now this is interesting because in a way I can see the lion here more clearly than I can see on the Lily Stone deck, which is fascinating because everything else, this deck is much easier to see the detail. In this one, I can see the lion a little bit more clearly here. However, we do see this more clearly on the Lily Stone deck. Beautiful armor. And here we have the Ace of Wands, a bon droit. The Two of Wands. The Three of Wands. Now notice she went with red for the wands here. Perhaps because it's more passionate in our modern way of looking at the wands. A lot of us see the wands as a fire element, which is, again, I believe, anachronistic for this period of time, but for a modern reader, that could be helpful. Here we have the Four of Wands. The Five of Wands. These colors, lovely. I didn't mention this, did I? I backed this on Kickstarter. This is a Kickstarter deck. This one. I'm sure she's going to continue selling this on her site. Here we have the Six of Wands and now the Seven of Wands. Very difficult to tell what is upright and what is reversed if you read with reversals for these wands. Here we have the Eight of Wands. Lovely. And look at this. Okay, so the decoration between the wands here, I think, is interesting. There's not this much space in a Marseille deck, right? So having this addition is lovely. And here we have the Ten of Wands, right? Right. So instead of having the two central wands going up and down, yeah, having the extra wand just here on the side, as in a Marseille deck, here we have the 5 cross-hatched. The 10 cross-hatched in sets of 5. Here we have the Page of Wands. With this, whatever this is, it's probably a glove, yes? Look how sharp this wand is. Yeah? All of the wands seem a bit sharp. Pointy, stabby wands. And here we have the Knight of Wands. Looking very, very active, yes? The horse is mid-jump. We have the shield, which is nice. Look at the expression on this horse's face. I'm going, but I don't know about it. I don't know. Here we have the Queen of Wands. We see both of her feet sticking out. But we don't get that silver. Instead of silver, we get reds here, right? And so this would have been silver. All of this black would have been silver. which has now tarnished. And here we have the King of Wands. Lovely. This is an absolutely lovely deck. What do you think? Would you prefer the Il Meneghello, which is a reproduction of the original? I mean, they painted it again to look just like the original. Or do you like this redrawing with cleaned up lines, changed colors, but much easier to see? You can see the size is practically the same. Actually, not practically. They're almost exactly the same. The lily stone is just a hair longer. So, which do you prefer? Or would you like to have both? I believe both are still available. Now, let me see. I believe I have time to try and shuffle this and see if I can pull a card for us. Let me try to riffle shuffle this. Okay, so if I'm riffle shuffling a deck this big, this is what I do. And it riffle shuffles. Okay, so it riffle shuffles very nicely. I'll try doing 3 riffle shuffles here, just so you get a sense. Okay, and the edging is not so sharp that it really hurts my fingers right off the bat. If I were to shuffle a lot, this edging is probably going to start making my thumbs hurt a little bit, but it's possible to riffle shuffle like that. Now let's see about overhand. I'm not the best overhand shuffler in the world. Probably I'm not the best overhand shuffler in Korea, or even my city in Korea. I'm a poor overhand shuffler, as you can see. But let me get one overhand shuffle, let me do 2 more. And the question, what is a message we would benefit from hearing right now, at your time of viewing and my time of filming? What is a message we would benefit from hearing from the Visconti Sforza? What is a message we would benefit in hearing? Do one more. My cut. So I'm doing 3 of 3. 3 riffles, 3 overhand. Whoa! Okay, so like I said, I am not the best overhand shuffler. And here we go. Put them back in their place. Okay, so I probably just turned some cards upside down in the process, but we're not going to be reading with reversals today. What is a message we would benefit from hearing at this time? And we cut the cards, pa-pung, pa-pung, and we turn over. Okay, the 4 of Cups, stable emotions, yet connected. Yeah, we want to have our emotional stability and our full connection with those around us. We want to share our emotional connection and feel safe and secure within that. I think that's a beautiful message for us now, especially. And so, friends, what do you think? Are you going to get this deck? Are you going to look for this deck? Let me know in the comments below. So, hit like if you enjoyed this walkthrough. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, and hit the alarm button. And share this with someone who you think might like to see a walkthrough of this beautiful deck and a comparison with the Il Meneghello. And also, comment below. I'd like to hear what you think about this. And as always, friends, I wish you love, joy, well-being, and pure awareness. Thank you.